Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. They say that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that has definitely been my lived experience. I'm especially reminded of the beginning of my journey as an Orisha devotee. I have been reading and studying kind of in abstract about the Orisha tradition. But then it was when my first child was being born that the rubber hit the road, and I got the clear understanding that, oh wow, this is what, you know, I've been reading about, and ancestor is returning, and just opened up a floodgate of understanding for me. And it was precisely at that time that I met my first teacher, who was Babalade Olamina. And Babalade was, one-on-one. He and I interacted one-on-one. Ever so often, I would go to his house, and there would be one person, maybe two other people there. But essentially, it was he and I talking, and he would teach me directly. And then later on, when I moved to the Bay Area, I met my second teacher, and um, it was with him and that was Chief Yagbe Onilu was my second teacher. And Yagbe was more a group setting kind of a teacher. We would go to his house every week, and there would be a group of people, and it would fluctuate, but it was a core group for a number of years. But the thing that I learned from Baba Yagbe more than anything was, or maybe not more than anything, but a really pivotal lesson that I learned that I want to share with you right now is how he would make his home available to us. He would make his time accessible to us. He would break things down. He was quite the researcher himself, and so he was always bringing in fresh, high quality information from around Yoruba land, and he was able to break it down for us in a way that was really helpful at the time. And I remember a recurring experience wherein he would be really genuinely offended when the Owl of the Month Club, would kick off. Meaning, ever so often a Babalawo will float in from another city or from even Nigeria, and people would just drop everything to run and attend this lecture or go have readings or set themselves up to do different kinds of ceremonies and all kinds of stuff like this. And at the time, I didn't really fully appreciate why it was problematic for Baba Yagbe, but in retrospect, I understand exactly why he found it so offensive. It's because he's taking all of this time and effort to develop people, cultivate people, and break things down for people, and explain things for people, and the people are exploiting that, or taking advantage of that. They're learning from him, absorbing everything that he has to say, but then at the first opportunity, they go run off and do something else, right? They go off and give their time and energy and money to someone else who isn't taking that same amount of time or effort to develop them. To be completely honest, right? The people who were floating through, they weren't trying to develop the people. They weren't trying to cultivate anything. They were trying to get as much work done and make as much money and get as many clients as they possibly could, right? And so I understand why that was problematic for him. And it's pertinent right now because the same thing happens online, right? um, I have been making use of social media for quite a while now, and in the process I have educated a really significant number of people, directly and indirectly, through my blog posts, social media posts, Instagram, Facebook, videos on YouTube. You know, I have educated a lot of people. I've exposed a lot of people and broken things down for a lot of people. And there are some people, there's a percentage of the people who just take, and then they just go run off. They have their aha moment and they run off without giving it a thought, and then patronize someone else. And they continue to come back, and they learn more from me, and they learn more from me, but then they take their patronage somewhere else. And it's interesting, but what I have learned from my experience with Chief Yagbe is that I don't find it as offensive. It is offensive. I do find it offensive and inappropriate. But I don't find it as offensive precisely because I learned from observing him, and I am comfortable with a certain percentage of people just being, you know, beachcombers, as we call them, because those aren't my students, right? When my students are ready, then I will show up to them in a different way. And that's the real point of this lesson. See, it's one thing for people to just try to get as much information as they possibly can to move on to do whatever they're doing next. But when a person is committed and they're invested and they know what they're doing and what they have, then they're not going anywhere. And I'll give you the distinction. At the time that I was a student of Chief Yagbe, when I was living in the Bay Area, I also had a trusted mechanic in my neighborhood, and his name was Dan. And Dan would get my car fixed within one school day. So I would be able to drop my children off at school, take my car to Dan, drop it off there, and then pick my car up in time to go and get my children from school. That's Dan. And my car, it never broke down. It was never cheap parts, nothing, right? So I wasn't going anywhere. Dan was getting the job done in such a way that accommodated my whole lifestyle, right? So I wasn't constantly scouring the city looking for new mechanics. And if I see that so-and-so is opening a mechanic shop, or somebody's telling me about their brother, their cousin, their nephew who's a shade tree mechanic, I don't care. I got a mechanic, and he gets it done the way I need to have it done, right? Because it locks into my lifestyle. And that's how I find my students. The people who have their lives in order, the people who have a certain understanding of decorum, the people who are committed in certain areas of life will understand and appreciate. They will be prepared, I should say. Those are people who are now prepared. They are poised and at the ready for my kind of teaching. So when you reach a certain stage of life, or when your lifestyle hits a certain kind of a groove, then you realize, oh, here's a teacher I'm gonna have this experience and that experience. I'm gonna get quality information. It's gonna be consistent. It's gonna be concise. I'm not gonna get no flim flam. I'm not gonna get no kickback. I'm not gonna get no, this guy's not extorting me, right? I'm not going nowhere. That's my teacher, because this is someone who helps support my lifestyle, and they're not adding a whole bunch of drama to my life. That's invaluable to me, because like the mechanic, hey, all I need is one day for Dan to tell me my car is not ready. Now he's just thrown my whole cycle off. How am I going to pick up Junior from here and take him to soccer practice over there, or take her to this recital over there? Like, I need this to work, and I need it to be going off without a hitch, right? And so that this is what it means for the student to be ready. The student being ready on one hand means that your mind and your heart and your spirit are open and poised to receive. That's one level of readiness, right? Because you can't teach somebody who already knows. Some people already know everything, so you're not teaching them anything. That's not ready. You have to be receptive. That's one level of teaching, of readiness to be taught. The other level of readiness that we're talking about is, like I said, lifestyle. You have to be poised. You have to be ready for the teachings, right? So when I came here to Georgia, one of the requirements for people who wanted to come and meet, right, and worship on a regular basis was you have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, I'm not going to do it. This is, it's not my first rodeo. So I'm not opening my home. I'm not carving things out of my schedule. I'm not going to make sure that I have certain kinds of supplies and accommodations for you. And every other time you come, or every third time, you got to do something else. Nope. You're going to be consistent. You're going to come every single time, or you're not going to come at all. Because that's how I'm going to get down. If I tell you that it's going to happen every Sunday at 11 o'clock, guess what? Every Sunday at 11 o'clock it's going down. I don't care if I got COVID, if I got the flu, if my allergies are off the charts. Sunday at 11 o'clock, I'm going to be in the shrine, and you better be there too, right? That's readiness. When you have your lifestyle put in place in such a way that you can follow through with whatever the requirements are, then you're ready. When you are poised to be whatever is necessary to get the job done, or to accommodate the lesson, or to realize the wisdom of the day, then you're ready. Some people are not. They're not ready to be anything, right? Sometimes people feel like they're in a stage of life where they got to talk. I got to say something. I got to say something. And then you may not be ready. Some people say, "Oh, I can't say anything. I just can't say anything. I can't." Then you may not be ready. But when you are a person who maybe is introverted by nature, but you've gotten to the point where, hey, this lesson is so important that if I have to be more extroverted, I will be more extroverted. And then you find the way to be more extroverted, you're ready. And vice versa. So there are levels of readiness. And as you reach those levels, then your teacher will appear. And when your teacher appears, it'll be like a hand in glove. You're going to know instantly, beyond the shadow of a doubt, this person is the one who's going to take me to the next level. This person is the one who's going to help me keep everything running smoothly. This person is the one who's going to help me to see what's behind the proverbial door number 3. And if you're really wise, you'll understand why having that person in your life is indispensable to your development. And then you'll be ready, willing, and able to do what's necessary to gather those lessons. So this lesson and this message is explicitly for the leaders. I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for people who are ready, willing, and able to do what is necessary to change the world through positive influence. If you're one of those people, then I want you to visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com, and let's start putting in the work to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you're destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.